Holy shit, it's True Review! Here, once again, with another top 10 list. This time I'm having a pop at video game reboots that were sold to us as the next big thing that had breathed life into a dying franchise, but instead, just helped it further along into the grave. So here are the top 10 worst video game reboots of all time. Hit it! Medal of Honor! Medal of Honor comes in at number 10, mainly because despite being a horrible reboot, it still sort of stayed true to its origins, but that doesn't excuse the fact that it's a hollow shell of what it once was. The original Medal of Honor, though being shit to today's standards, stood out as a fantastic, solid World War II shooter for its time, and held the title of Best Military Shooter until Call of Duty came along and made the whole thing stale. In contrast, however, the reboot was just as we'd expect from the modern military shooter genre. As in, adding nothing to the already oversaturated market of gritty shooters that portrayed a protagonist that's destined to win an entire war all on their own, despite the fact that the game is not allowing you to do anything on your own because you're being handheld all the way through every single inch of the map. This game treats you like a child, taking any player initiative out of the equation and going, "Well done, good boy," when you complete an objective. Syndicate! Now, most people are going to throw a brick at me when I say that I actually didn't mind this game. It had some elements to it that I thought were cool, and the shooting wasn't bad either. However, considering where this game came from and what the developers this time round did with it, then holy shit, is this a reboot that missed the mark so hard? A top-down sci-fi RPG with loads of depth and immersion to it has been grabbed by the neck, shaken about until it dropped its licensing agreement, and then got drop-kicked out of the window, and what's left is another military FPS. I don't understand why most reboots these days have to be first-person shooters. Syndicate was loved as a top-down RPG, so why not keep that shit the way it was back then? Tomb Raider, the Angel of Darkness. So what was it that made us love the original Tomb Raiders, and for the love of God, please don't say it was Lara's rectangular cleavage. I've never understood why anyone thought she was hot back in the day. Well, it was mostly for the fact that we were doing what the game says on the box. That is, raiding tombs. We were going to faraway lands, overcoming dangerous traps, and looting the shit out of forgotten tombs that held powerful secrets. Angel of Darkness, on the other hand, just got Lara running away from the Illuminati. What's the best way to make a reboot? Ignore what we loved about the originals and do something completely different, obviously.
Lane Goodman.
Shadowrun! Now, I'll be honest, I've only played Shadowrun Returns and I thought that that game was damn good. But when I heard that there had been a reboot in the series beforehand, I had a quick look to see what it was like. And then I ended up doing more research into it. Wow, that looks shit! But then again, this is another reboot that totally missed the mark. Shadowrun was, much in the same way as Syndicate, a top-down RPG set in a rich environment with so much lore and stuff going on that made the game world feel real, but let's just get rid of all of that because what people really want is a multiplayer deathmatch game based on the series, and when I say based on the series, I mean pretty much not based on the series, by only giving out small shoutouts to it to pay fan service homage for no apparent reason. But all it succeeded in doing was dragging the already loved franchise out and brutally assaulting it, because this is FPS territory now, so you better pack your things and get the fuck out of here, little man.
Take me down, 6 underground.
Thief! Fuck you, Eidos Montreal, or whoever is responsible for this atrocity. Now, I know that the recent screw-ups that happened along with Mankind Divided weren't actually Eidos' fault, and the blame lies solely with Square Enix, so maybe that's what happened with Thief as well, but all I remember from playing this one was that I was so super hyped about playing a new Thief game, but after hitting the start button, that huge grin on my face slowly began to turn upside down. With so many immersion-breaking bugs, a massive step away from the dark and sinister settings and plots of the originals, and for some reason they'll be forever lost on me, less emphasis on stealth this time round too. The original two Thief games demanded that you stole a predetermined amount of loot during each mission, so you were being actively encouraged to explore each map and snatch everything that wasn't nailed to the floor. But the rebooted thief just doesn't give a shit about that. Sure, you can steal if you want to, but only if that's what you really want to do. We won't judge you if you don't want to. Besides, we've got a really crap storyline here waiting for you, so why not come and give it some attention? The original games encourage you to go where you shouldn't go. The reboot didn't give you a reason to do so. I was more interested in forcing you down a narrow path instead. Bionic Commando! Also known as Swinging Derp Derp. Bionic Commando tried its damned hardest to be all tough and gritty and serious and shit, but if you try to be too serious, then you'll just come across as comical in the end, and that's what happens here. Containing one of the most absurd plot twists ever, where it turns out that your missing wife was actually your bionic arm this whole time, as well as countless bugs and lackluster levels, Bionic Commando was unable to latch onto the video game market with its new hook. Do you see what I did there? Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark was credited as one of the first survival horror games ever, and quite possibly held the title of most scariest game of all time for a while back in the day. And though that title would be spirited away forever, it does remain as one of the hallmarks of the horror genre. Too bad that the reboot was piss. Not only were you not alone in this game, but it wasn't even that dark either. Instead, the Lovecraftian/Poean themes, if that is actually a word, and if not then it is now, has been completely replaced with what I can only describe as the B-movie of B-movies. So quite possibly a C-movie. It had literally nothing to do with the original, so I have no idea why they used the name Alone in the Dark to begin with. They should have called it Edward Carby's Clusterfuck Adventures, because that would have made way more sense than this. By giving it the name Alone in the Dark, you're associating yourself with the original, and naturally, if you're gonna do that, then we're gonna expect that this is going to be like the original, and delivering anything else is just gonna piss us off, but I guess that's what the developers were going for. Bomberman Act Zero! You know, I seem to be talking about this one quite a bit now that I think about it. Veterans of this channel will know all about this one, so here it is in a nutshell. Bomberman has been stripped away and replaced with a post-apocalyptic setting where the fighting is partly shown in third person and is trying to be all bad and shit. But the ironic thing is that it is bad and shit, but not in a good way. Act Zero has removed all of the charm and colour that the original Bomberman had, because this one is aimed towards the big kids, and if you're not man enough to handle this, then go back to playing babies, Bomberman, you pussy. Okay, I will. Those ones are way more fun than this anyway. Space Raiders! Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Someone decided to make a reboot on Space Invaders? Yeah, okay, they called it something else, but that doesn't excuse the fact that this is absolute garbage. Space Invaders was a simple game that didn't require much in terms of content, and yet managed to give tens of thousands of us many hours of enjoyment. There was nothing wrong with it, and it certainly didn't need a reboot. But some fucking dickhead thought it'd be a good idea to reintroduce it with modern day graphics, and then make the entire thing look like someone spent about one afternoon designing the aliens, and that'll do, won't it? Sure, I didn't put much effort into developing this game, but it's Space Invaders. I mean, come on. Everyone loves Space Invaders. Yes, everyone does love Space Invaders. This varies between each individual. But what we don't love are cheap knockoffs that are clearly designed at harbouring all of our cash purely by dropping the name of a well-loved and classic title. What are you going to release next? A 3D version of Pong and turn it into a modern military FPS? Sonic the Hedgehog! Christ, I seem to be talking about this one a lot these days as well. Real quick then, because I'm sick of talking about this one too. It was a disaster on all accounts. Some games were able to make a smooth transition from 2D to 3D. Sonic the Hedgehog didn't. In fact, Sonic's transition to 3D was a spectacular fail. Even putting aside the infinite amount of bugs and glitches that you'll encounter along the way, the general gameplay, and let's not forget the story, was so awful. Sonic had always been about moving fast, destroying robots and defeating Eggman. It felt so right in 2D because it was simple. Any idiot could pick up the controller and be able to play the game and feel awesome in doing so. Sonic 06, however, made us want to put down that controller. It didn't feel like we were in control of anything. You'll move so fast through some parts that entire sections of the map will just whiz past you, making you wonder why those parts were even there in the first place. And that feeling of enjoyment and nostalgia that made the Sonic franchise such a loved series is just completely absent in this game. It's widely regarded as one of the worst games of all time, in addition to being one of the worst reboots of all time, and that's why Sonic the Hedgehog graces us with its unholy presence here, at number 1. And it's a touchdown! But if you'd like to grace us with your unholy presence, then like this video and sub. Don't forget that I'm on Twitter under my name, where you can find out what's happening and what video will be next, and there's also Patreon if you'd like to support this channel further. See ya!
Sometimes I think this life is killing me.